Hey, it's Chris. We got a brand new Apple TV that just came out, along with a really great new Siri Remote. So which one should you buy, if either? That's what this deep dive is designed to help you figure out, and pay attention until the end if you care about smart home stuff at all, because there's an underrated feature lurking about in this new release that nobody's really talking about. Okay, first things first, do you even need a new Apple TV streaming box, or can you simply get by with the Apple TV app that comes packaged with several new smart TVs? Well, Apple TV The Box is a platform that comes with an app store and Apple Arcade, along with some HomeKit smart home features, along with a few other perks, while the Apple TV Smart TV app basically just pipes in content. If content is all you care about, then the Apple TV app will pipe in Apple TV Plus, along with some premium channels like Showtime, Stars, Epic, etc. And it'll also merge in movie renting and buying, popular streaming services, and cable TV providers. All right, so why might you be interested in buying an actual Apple TV box though? Well, you get everything I just talked about, plus the platform, tvOS. So games and gaming capabilities, access to non-streaming apps, and an upgraded watching experience powered by a fast new processor, great input and output options, i.e. ports, and capabilities like high frame rate and Dolby Vision and Dolby Atmos support. Oh, and this awesome new Siri Remote, which is completely redesigned this year to be the remote we've always wanted the Apple TV to have, which, yes, can be purchased separately from an Apple TV streaming box for $59, admittedly expensive, but that may be the upgrade that a lot of people care about more than anything else. Now, personally right now, I have 3 Apple TVs. One that's kind of my main Apple TV setup, that's in my living room, one that lives in the basement, and then one that lives in my bedroom. And if you're thinking about doing some upgrading here, maybe you'll do something like me. I'm only going to be upgrading the Apple TV on my main TV setup, and then maybe grabbing some extra remotes for my other Apple TVs. Why, though, am I going to be upgrading one of my Apple TV boxes? Partly for smart home stuff, partly for future-proofing. Both of those things I'm going to break down as we go through the video and break down all the features, so let's just get into it. Right now, you can actually still buy an HD version of the Apple TV, but the original Apple TV 4K, that has been discontinued. So you can get the new 4K or the old HD. And yep, that old HD will come with the new remote now. If you are somebody who has the old Apple TV 4K from 2017, it's 4 years old at this point, the only major changes here are support for high frame rate content, an updated HDMI situation, and then of course, Wi-Fi 6. Both the new and the old Apple TV 4Ks are capable of watching 4K HDR, Dolby Vision, and Dolby Atmos content, and the storage options aren't new this year, so it's the same 32 and 64 gigs. And I gotta let you know that very cool new color calibration feature that lets you use an iPhone 10 or newer to color balance your TV, at least for non-Dolby Vision content, will work on older Apple TVs via a software update. And that even includes the Apple TV HD. Surprising, I know. Now, if you do currently have an HD version of the Apple TV box, this is a compelling time to upgrade, as long as you have a TV that can handle all the great new features. And what I'm gonna do is link up my favorite OLED TV down in the description. It's the TV I would recommend if you really wanna go all out and make the most of your Apple TV experience, whatever Apple TV box you have. And that's all I'm gonna say about TVs in this video, because I have personal experience with it. It's just what I like and use. Now, should you care about Dolby Vision? Well, you're gonna find Dolby Vision content on Netflix, Amazon Prime Video, Disney Plus, and Apple TV Plus. So there are plenty of places in the real world to find Dolby Vision content, and if the idea of frame-by-frame optimization for your favorite movies or TV shows appeals to you, then yeah, it's worth looking into. But I also have to tell you, the latest iPhone Pros shoot Dolby Vision HDR video. And man, does it look nice. I did an explainer video on Dolby HDR on the iPhones, breaking the whole thing down, so you can go check that out. I'll try to remember to link that up down below too, so you can see what it's all about, if it's worth it. But if you want to be able to stream that or AirPlay that to your Apple TV, yeah, that's gonna be like the cherry on top. Before we get any further, if you're liking the vibe of this video, this is a great time to get yourself subscribed to the channel, because if you want to see my review, this is not the new Apple TV, this is my old one, which is just here as a prop. That's going to be coming up soon, along with lots of other Apple content, so don't miss it. All right, let's talk a little bit about the processor in the new Apple TV. Now, the older Apple TV models were never really known for being sluggish in terms of launching apps or just performance in general. It's not something anyone ever complained about. So with this new chip in here, you can bet you're gonna have some extra overhead for potential future applications that might be able to make better use of a more powerful processor. The way Apple puts it, you should see a significant boost in graphics performance, video decoding, and audio processing. By contrast, I have personally used some Roku devices that have felt very, very sluggish in the interface. So while the Apple TV has always been really great, these things do actually matter when it comes to usability when you're shopping around. Now, the original Apple TV launched with an A10X chip, but the new one here is rocking the A12 Bionic, which is actually the same chip that you'll find in the 4th gen iPad mini. When the rubber really meets the road, this chip is here to power HFR content, high frame rate content. So let's talk about that next. If you care about sports, in particular, you should care about HFR. Of course, you are going to need a TV that supports HFR. Again, I'll link one up down in the description. But simply put, 4K high frame rate HDR content is going to look smoother, more fluid, and more realistic. And I feel like this is one of those things that if you see it, you're like, wow. But if you've never seen it, you're like, what's the big deal? And I'll just reiterate here, if you, like me, like to AirPlay iPhone footage to your really nice TV, then it will look cool to shoot over your gorgeous 60 FPS footage from your iPhone 12 Pro or Max. I will just note, the Roku Ultra does support Dolby Vision at 60 FPS for just $100, so $79 less than the cheapest Apple TV 4K. But for someone like me who's really immersed in the Apple ecosystem, I'm just not even interested in that Roku setup at all. Another piece of the HFR puzzle here is the addition of HDMI 2.1 versus HDMI 2.0. Some of the benefits of that are gonna have to be revealed maybe down the line. We may not even know what those are gonna be yet, but it more than doubles the output of this port. Interestingly, HDMI 2.1 does allow for 10K resolution and 120 frames per second. So while this new Apple TV box only supports 4K at 60 FPS, this does leave room for some interesting possibilities in the future. Now, let's talk about Wi-Fi. This new Apple TV 4K has Wi-Fi 6 and Thread support. And I'm guessing that most people have just glossed right over that Thread and Wi-Fi 6 capability. Wi-Fi 6 simply means you're gonna be able to stream higher bandwidth content in a more seamless manner. But Thread support is much more interesting, and it's the most underrated feature of the new Apple TV box, especially if you're planning on building your smart home around Apple's HomeKit. In a nutshell, Thread's a low-powered wireless mesh network. So think Zigbee or Z-Wave, that not only makes your smart home network more stable, but also allows different products from different companies to flawlessly work together without having to use something like IFTTT, if this then that. So in other words, Thread support is potentially gonna make it way easier to automate your smart home. So maybe you've heard of the company named Eve. They make some great Thread products. Nanoleaf's a pretty cool smart lighting company that makes some great Thread products. And guess what? That not too old HomePod Mini was the first Apple device with Thread support. So the rollout is quietly continuing here. When it comes to this redesigned Siri Remote, I think we can all agree it's just a good thing. Fast forwarding and rewinding on this old Siri Remote was such a pain. Really didn't work very well at all. So count me among the people who, while I tried to make the best of the old remote, is glad that this new one is here. Part of the problem with this old remote was just, it was so symmetrical, it was hard to tell what was up and what was down in a dark room, you know, like when you're watching a movie. So this new remote fixes all of that. Obviously, dedicated mute and power buttons are awesome here, and that Siri button on the side, kind of like what you get on the iPhone, is better too. What's cool is that the touch action yet also clickable direction buttons are a definite winner too. No more accidental swipes or presses or gestures or what have you. Something else you should know about the new remote versus the old remote here is that the new one doesn't have an accelerometer or a gyroscope built in like the old one did. That was used for certain games, and those games will not be supported on the new remote, but you know what? You probably don't care anyways, because what you can do now is pair the latest controllers with your Apple TV. All right, so I'll make this really easy for you. If you don't care about high frame rate content, smart home stuff, or future-proofing your setup, then you should probably just buy that new remote all on its own without getting a new box, if you can stomach that $60 price tag. One final note, storage. If you plan on getting a new box, how much do you actually need? 32 or 64 gigs? I will say that once upon a time, I did use up all the available storage in the base model 32 gig Apple TV, but that was because I downloaded a bunch of games that, you know what, I never actually played, and so I just deleted a bunch and I moved on with life. It was never a big deal. I don't really think that most people are ever gonna come close to touching that 32 gig storage, but you never know. In the future, things could change. Wow, that's it for this video. When I got into this and I was doing some research and kind of putting my thoughts together, I did not expect for this video to be so in-depth and for there to be so many different angles to consider, but I'm glad that I made this because I think there's more to consider than I realize. And if that's the case, then a lot of people realize. So hopefully you found some value here. If you did, drop me a note, let me know. And if you still have some questions, let me know about that too. See what I can do about answering. Don't forget I linked up my favorite TV for you down in the description. It's an affiliate link, just an FYI. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Get yourself subscribed too so you don't miss the review. All right, I'm done. Later.